Well, I'm going to be honest with you fellas, we didn't see as many goals as we did yesterday, but that doesn't mean the games aren't going to be exciting. We can still have some defensively thrilling games here, and definitely the primetime game was an example of that. We'll get to that later though. Our first game in the bright and early morning, for me at least at 11 a.m, was Finland versus Switzerland, and this one was going to be a bit of a good duel there. Finland, you know, they had a little bit of troubles with Germany, only beating them 5-3, and the Swiss obviously just coming off of a loss 1-0 to the Slovaks. And early on, it was looking pretty good for Switzerland. Right off the bat, 2003 born Attilio Biasca off of a nice feed from Raymond Fust. That was a nice one, just a nice one there with nice patience, ripping it far right there. He gets to play with Halifax later this year once the QMJHL resumes, so that's going to be pretty exciting. He was 5th overall in the 2020 import draft. But it wouldn't last long for Switzerland because Finland is just going to step on the gas once they see that. And of course, it's the captain, Anton Lundell, putting him on the board first once again off of a nice little crisp pass from Kasper Simon-Tyval. After that, it was Thibault. He woke up a little bit too. He was playing flawlessly for the rest of the first period there and early into the second, making some big saves on the PK, really keeping his team in it. But he was not able to do anything about this next one here. Juuso Parson, holy cow, what a move. Coming down the ice, probably from his own blue line there. Not even really moving his feet, just using his edges there, making his way in, dipsy doodle, and the lovely backhand. Just roofs it on Fatan there. You're going to love that one. Probably one of the goals of the day, if not the tournament. That was just a lovely one. For the rest of the period though, Fatan would once again just be standing on his head, keeping his team in it. We do also get to see a pretty good display of Ville Heinola's skill, but we also did get to see a bit of a gaff here. He was giving me some Dan Hamhuis flashbacks there, but it didn't go that far. Heinola stopped it from going in his own net there. He had some pretty good display of his skating though. It was a good period for Finland in the most part. Into the third though, the Swiss, they were really starting to shoot themselves in the foot, taking a couple of penalties, a bunch of weird ones too. Goalie interference, holding, they weren't really doing themselves any good. And on one of those power plays, Brad Lambert would make a nice crisp little shot pass there to Akurati for the nice deflection up at the hash marks. That's just, man, Brad Lambert's getting drafted in 2022 and he's already a professional hockey player. He's so crisp out there, and like, I'm just going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. If you're going to put a guy like Matt Savoy in this tournament, or even Shane Wright, I don't know if they'd be able to perform at the level that Brad Lambert is right now. He is looking stellar. I know he's a bit older than him, but holy cow, he's looking so good out there. And then after this, the Swiss would really start to get going at it. They're trying their hardest, but even when they're trying their hardest, Raymond Fust would even get the goaltender interference penalties. They were working so hard in the crease, but it just didn't come out for them. And the Finns would just cap it off with a nice one from Kasper Simon-Tyval in the slot. Once again, on that power play where Fust got the goalie interference. Nice little triangle there from Anton Lundell, Ronnie Hirvonen, and then obviously Simon-Tyval with a nice finish. So we ended that game 4-1 for the Finns. Once again, this is one I really think they could have done a bit more damage, especially with all the power play opportunities they had, but it still was a good outing nonetheless there. Another 3 points for the Finns to stay at the top of the group, and they're going to be challenged for that though, because we got Canada right up next here. They're on the doorstep with their 3 points as well, and they're playing the Slovaks. Are we going to see another goal fest, or is this one going to be a bit more mundane than the last outing? Before we get into the actual game report though, there are a couple things we got to talk about with Canada's roster. Braden Schneider has been suspended for that hit he had on Schumacher in the game against Germany, just one though, so he's being replaced by Jordan Spence. And then Dylan Holloway is out temporarily, I'm pretty sure, with an upper body injury. It's not known how long he's going to be out for. We'll find out if he's there against Switzerland on Tuesday, but we're going to get into the game then right away here. And early on, it's looking like it might be another one of those, maybe not 16-2, but another goal fest. Jordan Spence, the replacement for Schneider, puts it in on the empty net after Lavai actually kind of just finds himself, you know, looking around. He doesn't know where the puck is, and yeah, he's also starting in the net too. Latkoski not getting the start against Canada, but that's okay. Lavai is also a really good goalie. He played really well with Sherbrooke in the Q last year, and it's a shame that he hasn't been drafted. We'll talk about him maybe another time. For the rest of the first though, Canada would look like they're gonna be peppering them a little bit more, but they weren't really able to get anything out of it, and it really was kind of sad there. The Slovaks weren't able to get too much done, but neither was Canada. And then we got into the second, and this is where it got a little bit odd. Canada didn't register a shot for the first half of the second period. Well, I wouldn't say the Slovaks were hemming them in their own zone, but they were holding their own, working hard on the boards, getting to the puck on the forecheck, just doing a good job beating Canada to the pucks and just doing the basic things right. We jump to the third though, and this is where it's once again for Canada, it's looking a bit creepy here. Slovaks are just working so hard here. Around 5 minutes into the period, Canada had a really good chance. They're only 1-0 up, and Connor McMichael goes through the legs, but Hlavai sees it the whole way. And honestly, this is just my opinion. When I was watching it, I saw it the whole way too. I had a gut feeling he was going to try that. I don't know if you want to do that in a 1-0 game. It would have been obviously nuts if he pulled that off, and it was a cool attempt, but 1-0 up, I don't know if that's the right decision. Because the Slovakians would just they'd be keeping the pressure on Canada. They're not really letting them do much. Hlavai still standing on his head. It wouldn't actually be until the Slovaks are coming down on a 3-on-2 and Juraj Slavkovsky, he accidentally gives it away. Dylan Cousins would spring Philip Tomasino on the breakaway, in which he makes no mistake lifting it over Hlavai on the right side of the net. Just a lovely one. Nothing you can do about that. After that, Slovakia was keeping their composure though, and then on the power play with the empty net, 6-on-4, Martin Chromiak absolutely lasers one past the glove of Devin Levi. That was a big one. Now it's 2-1. Is anything gonna happen? They'd pull the goalie again, and sadly, the other 16-year-old Simon Nemec would bobble it at the blue line, and Andre Tourigny's wonder child himself, Jack Quinn of the Ottawa 67s, would put the breakaway empty netter home to get Canada the 3-1 victory. I'm going to be 100% honest though, this is not what the Canadians needed. They were coming into this game, they're playing all fancy when really they just had to keep it simple. Like, it could have been easily a 6-1, 7-1 game if they really just kept things basic. I'm not saying I want them to play boring, I'm just saying when you have the opportunities, bury your opportunities. Don't try and turn it into such a wonder goal or anything like that. I saw a couple of those where they're just trying to do a toe drag where it's completely unnecessary. You can either just dump it in or have a good shot on your own. It's just, really, you don't need to be doing that. And sadly, you know, Canada, the hardest game they're going to be playing against in this group is against Finland. And I hope it's not a wake-up call on the last day before you guys got to go into the playoffs and play a team like Russia, USA, or Sweden in the quarterfinals. It may be a bit rough for Canada, but hopefully Andre Tourigny, he is a great coach. I hope he can get stuff sorted out with the Canadians before their battle with the Finns on Wednesday. As for the Slovakians, though, they really should not be taking this poorly in any sense. They had 18 shots to Canada's 23. They were working them on the boards, blocking shots, doing everything. And I think with Samuel Hlavai in the net and Latkotsky in the backup, they can do some damage, even against Germany. And finally, our main event, the Russians versus the Czechs. Last year, the Czechs beat them 4-3. It was a close one. You got to know Russia's going to be on their tails. These guys have been bitter rivals for a while now. Early in the first period, though, this was basically rush hour in Beijing. No one was moving an inch. Both chances were being kind of, you know, swapped at each end there. There were some good ones for the Czechs, but the Russians would come back with some of their own. Parik and Askarov both standing on their heads for the first period. And if I'm going to take you guys to the second period, it wasn't too much of a difference from this gridiron deadlock here, but I will say there were some bigger hits and there were some bigger saves. It was not until the Russians, they were hemming the Czechs in their own end for probably like 2 minutes. The Czechs line was out there for at least 2 minutes, and on one endless little break there, Jakub Rychkowski would break out and find Filip Kofer on the 2-on-1. Absolutely gassed. You could see them though, like holy hell, the absolute pride in these guys. They were ecstatic to score this one. I can't believe they were able to do this like with this shift here. You know, I'm amazed those guys didn't just run to the bench. Holy cow, that was just a great one, and that brought so much energy to the Czech bench before the period ended. And into the third, though, it was not long for the Czechs to answer again. Martin Lang, the former Kamloops Blazer, the current Moose Jaw Warrior, and I sadly don't know where he's playing right now in Europe. He comes down the breakaway and puts it between Askarov's arm to make it 2-0 with 15 minutes left to go in the frame. But it would get hairy. The Czechs, they start losing their discipline here, and they're on the penalty kill for a lot of the rest of the period here. But I'm gonna say this, holy crap, the Czechs wanted this win really bad. The amount of block shots, the amount of saves from Parik, the amount of dumps, the amount of ice, the amount of time killed by these guys was astronomical. And in the final minutes there, where Russia had Askarov pulled and the pressure was immense, they did everything in their power to keep this game 2-0, and that would be the final score. Just look at these guys. They were just the adrenaline running through these guys' veins after shutting out the Russians, beating them 2 years in a row. This, oh man, just absolute stunning scenes from the Czechs in the late game at Edmonton tonight. Absolutely crazy. And the time has come around here. We got the top players in a very defensively minded day. And first off, it's going to be Brad Lambert, though, for his explosiveness, and I really think he's come out in this game here. This is where he's looking to really fit into this roster here. 2 assists, he really showing up his skating, his offensive prowess on the power play, looking really good from the 17-year-old and the 2022 draft prospect. Second one is Thibault for his 39 saves against the Finns, though. That was just absolutely out of this world. He has made 70 saves combined in the 2 games this tournament. He's keeping his team in it at even strength. It's only on the power play where he's really getting beaten. Just lovely from the Swiss goaltender. And then finally, you may not agree with me with this, but I felt like I had to do it. The entire Czech Republic team, the blocked shots, they're just making the most off of their chances. They get their 2-on-1s, their breakaways, and Lukáš Parík standing on his head, getting the start. First game of the tournament, absolutely mental. Just a crazy night for the Czechs. I can't believe they were able to do this against such a strong Russian team. Just lovely. That was it for today, though, and tomorrow we get a little bit of a lesser schedule. Only 2 games: Austria, Sweden, Slovakia, Germany. Those are going to be, well, Germany, Slovakia is going to be a pretty interesting game. That could be a fight for the relegation games. And Sweden, Austria, I don't really want to know how that's going to end. I really hope they can at least do something, but hopefully they make it entertaining at both ends of the ice. Hope you guys enjoyed today, though. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and have a good one. See ya.